Eat to live, don't live to eat. This is the quote that we're going to approach this next step, the diet part, with. Because it's really important to understand that even though diet is a crucial part for our physical health, we can also overdo it. And especially we can ask the wrong questions. It's important to understand that diet is there to serve us as nourishment, but should not become a purpose in itself. So in order to approach this topic, I selected a few questions. And it's not only the what we're going to eat or what not, they're different questions and they're not so common. For more detailed analysis and a more detailed course over this, you can also check out my other course that really goes into more depth about the different questions and how to improve our diets based on your specific type. And the questions we're going to ask in this course are the when, how, who, and what of eating. The what or the what not are probably very familiar to you, and these are things that are very often discussed, especially in Western science. But I argue that the other questions are even more important than the what, and actually determine what the what is. So the first and foremost important part is the when and when not to eat. Most of the times in our society we're eating non-stop, we're constantly snacking, we don't really have breaks in between meals, but according to yoga and according to Ayurveda, the sister science of yoga, it is crucial to have at least 12 hours after our last meal and before our first meal. So 12 hours after the dinner, then you can have your first meal, your breakfast. And we need to do this in order to give our digestive system the time that it needs to relax and heal. Because the purpose of this course is to relax and heal your body. And your digestive system is of course a part of it. And if it's constantly busy with digesting and assimilating food, it never has the time to go into the rest state and heal. So this is why we need at least 12, preferably even 14 hours between our dinner and breakfast. The same also holds true for snacking in between meals. If we just had a big meal and then eat another snack half an hour later, the food that we've previously eaten is not digested properly yet, and the digestive enzymes and the digestive fire will not be available to digest the food that you then eat, the snack. So this food, and even the prior food, will not be properly digested. And what happens with not properly digested food, it creates discomfort, bloating, and in the long run, these undigested things can even become toxic to your system and accumulate within your system. In Ayurveda, this is called ama, the toxin. So we're trying to really give our digestive system also the break in between meals. This is a little exception when you, for example, only had a piece of fruit for breakfast. And the fruit should also preferably eaten on an empty stomach or before you eat anything else, because fruit is digested very fast. So this is why it is okay to have a piece of fruit and then half an hour later have a proper meal. So this is an exception. The next part would be the how. It's very important to understand that these days we're really focused or distracted while eating. We're not really with our food anymore. We're on the phone, we're watching TV while eating, and this doesn't give our body and our mind the chance to understand that it's supposed to assimilate and digest food at this moment. Maybe we're even stuck in a sympathetic state, in the fight or flight state, and not in the rest and digest state, which doesn't allow the body to properly understand and assimilate the food. Because digestion and eating actually starts before consuming the food. It's by seeing the food, by smelling the food, by touching even the food. These are all cues that your body needs in order to already select what kind of food is coming now and what kind of enzymes do I need to produce. It already gets ready for the state of digestion. And proper and complete digestion is super important for actually assimilating what's in the food. Because if you're not properly assimilating what's in the food, it doesn't matter how healthy it is. So we need to eat mindful and slowly and be really aware of what we're tasting, of the fact that we're eating. So these are three aspects that we really need to take into consideration and really let go of all the distraction while eating. Another aspect is that we should eat with our heart filled with gratitude, because when we're eating, we're in a state of receptive assimilation. Everything that is around us, the body is wanting to assimilate right now. And if we have a negative atmosphere, or if we hold negative emotions within ourselves, all these things are then also stored and assimilated in the process of eating. But when we appreciate our food with a heart filled of gratitude, we will then assimilate this food a lot better and also assimilate this feeling of gratitude. So a simple practice is, before you start eating, close your eyes, take a few conscious breaths, and be grateful for the food. Be grateful for the plants that are now offering you nourishment, and be grateful for the animal that maybe sacrificed its life or its products for you, so you can live and live healthy and live longer. And just taking a moment and centering yourself in this gratitude will allow you to not only enjoy your food a lot more, but also to assimilate and digest it a lot better, so you can be your healthiest and happiest self. And the last part of this is to stop when you're about 80% full. 80% leaves about 20% room for digestion to happen also in the stomach. When your stomach is filled to the brim, there's no space for the digestive enzymes, for the hydrochloric acid to completely go and cover all the parts of the food and not be able to move it around, so the digestion cannot happen properly. On top of that, you will probably notice that when you stop when you're 80% full, half an hour later you will feel completely full. Because this is unfortunately for how most of us experience this feeling of satiety. It only happens about half an hour to 45 minutes after we've started eating. So when we eat slower, we can work towards experiencing this faster while eating, and just stopping when you're 80% full is anyway a good way of leaving space for digestion. So this is just a little bit of theory of how to improve your eating experience. And then the next step is the who. So who are you? I'm asking you now, who are you? Where are you from? What are your goals? What is your constitution? Where do you live? Those are all questions that determine the last part of this, the what. So when you live in a city area, you need different food than if you live in a rural area, or even in an ashram and have spiritual aspirations. When your aspirations to have a clear, focused mind, your diet goals might be a little bit different than wanting to increase muscle mass. If you have spiritual aspirations, your diet might even be different. And there's so many different types of diets, like vegan, vegetarian, paleo, keto, fasting. There's so many different things, but first determining who you are is very important to understand which diet is right for you. And according to yoga and the Ayurvedic philosophy, we have the three doshas, the three constitutions, Vata, Pitta and Kapha. Vata and Pitta and Kapha are related to your constitution and your life situation right now. Based on a dosha quiz, you can determine what kind of constitution you are. And this is what I'd like to invite you to now, to do a dosha test and understand what kind of dosha you are imbalanced with. When you answer the question, for example, it comes out you're a Vata type, that means your Vata dosha is imbalanced. So you need a diet that brings your Vata back into balance. When you are Kapha imbalanced, you need to have a Kapha pacifying diet that brings Kapha back into balance. And just a very quick overview of what these doshas are. It's not complete, just to give you a small understanding. They are related to the different elements. So the Vata is very ether and air related. So those are people that have more drier skin, they're very quick moving in their mind, they're a bit smaller build. And then we have the Pitta people. They're related to the fire and the water element. Those people are a bit more stronger built, a bit more muscular, and they have a very fast digestion. They're very quick, they're strong, they're fiery. So these are the type of people. And the last one is the Kapha. The Kapha is related to earth and water. And because it has the earth element in there, it is very stable and grounded and calm. These people will be a little bit bigger, a little bit more easygoing, but more relaxed. And yeah, so these are the 3 doshas, and by doing a dosha test you will understand to which category you fall. You might already have an intuition of what you fall into, but then based on this you can have a lot better understanding of what type of diet is right for you. And finally now we're reaching the what part. But also here it's going to be a bit different. I'm not going to tell you what to eat and what not to eat, because as we've learned, it depends on who you are. But we can still understand, based on the yogic and Ayurvedic philosophy, the different types of food. And this relates to the gunas that we approached already in the introduction of this course. So it's the sattvic, rajasic and tamasic. And this is also the types of food that we have. Tamasic food has no prana, no energy. It's very processed food, it's dead food, and it damages the body because it takes energy from the body. It doesn't even give energy, it even takes energy. Then we have rajasic food. Rajasic food is our worldly food. It's what we eat most these days. It's very salty, it's very spiced, it's a little bit processed. It's this kind of like stimulating food that makes us more agitated, more wanting to do something than rather being. And this food has prana in it, but not as much prana, not as much energy as the sattvic food. Sattvic food is the highest food that we can consume, and it is fresh, it is organic, it is natural, it is unprocessed, and it contains just a lot of vital energy, a lot of prana, and it really leaves us more stronger and more invigorated and more present than when we started eating. So this is the type of food that we want to consume most of, because it's very easy to digest and easy to assimilate. And this can also give our internal system then the rest that it needs, and ourselves the energy that we need for other things in our life. So we all know what these foods are. We all know what toxic food are. We all know what really healthy food is. So I'm not going to tell you now what to eat and what not to eat. It's really important to find your intuition and not to forbid yourself. I'm not allowed to eat this. If you have the urge to eat something unhealthy, it's important to also sometimes give in into the urge, because if you always forbid yourself something, you will create some internal resistance and want to eat these things even more. You create cravings, and you cannot get rid of cravings by forbidding yourself to have these cravings. These cravings will diminish after a while by following the steps in this course, by following a more spiritual and personal development path. They will disappear from themselves. There's no need again to fight fire with fire. This will never work. So we have the intention and understanding now what healthier foods are, and maybe understanding of who we are, and based on this we can make more informed choices. And this will then also result in us feeling better and maybe even wanting to make better choices. So this is this part for the diet, and I hope based with these tips and ideas you will be able to enjoy your food so much more than you have.